He lied. He lied. He actually, ain't no way, bro.
I'm a bird, mother. I'm a bird.
Visa is getting what they deserve after helping censor thousands of problematic games and quote-unquote problematic games. People are having enough with all this BS. This is what I meant. The reason why all those Karens and schizos are being heard because they're loud. The second the people who actually do play games raise their voice, they understand that the majority doesn't want any of that, because guess what? The majority are not the schizo Karens.
Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So I don't know about you, but it feels like we're entering a new era of censorship. Whether it's the new age verification system that has gone into effect in the UK, or the looming ban on VPNs that also is existing in the UK, or the fact that similar bills are being introduced to the United States, or the fact that thousands of games have been banned across multiple platforms.
Okay, I have to point this out. I'm assuming it's an AI. The bone on the hand is giving me like the heebie-jeebies. It's like a crack in the bone, like to put the hand like that. And it's like, I know this person isn't real, but goddamn, this looks painful.
It really feels like censorship is ramping up at an alarming rate. Now, when anyone says, woke is dead or censorship is dead, they're not seeing the full picture. This stuff is still alive as ever.
Yep.
Censorship is being pushed extremely hard right now.
Yep.
And you can see there's pushback. Visa and MasterCard are getting overwhelmed by gamer fury over censorship. And that happens after thousands.
Gamers are sending mass emails and phone calls to major payment processors in protest over Steam and itch.io.
Damn.
And this is why it's very important for everyone, for absolutely everyone, to understand. But yeah, none of this is surprising me at this point. People are finally realizing that, hey, I have a voice. I can do something. I can say something.
Thousands of games have been banned thanks to the efforts of small groups that are targeting these payment processors and making them put pressure on these platforms to ban certain games. And it's working, and that is the part that is really scary. It's not just the 18+ hentai games or stuff like that. It's also horror games. That's the new development we're looking at today, and on top of that, there's way more to look at when it comes to collective
So now horror games are being censored. It's as if I've been saying this for a long time. It's not about just the adult content. I'm not interested in adult content. I cannot play horror games because of my heart, and I'm gonna still continue because, again, it's not gonna stop there.
Shout, the main group that is initiating all of this, they're even going as far as to start making these vague threats against content creators who dare to call out their lies and BS. Now, it's not all doom and...
From what I heard, I think they threatened Smash AT to sue him. I'm talking about collective Karen shout.
Really?
Yes. I've seen something being mentioned that they're threatening him with a lawsuit.
Gloom today. Here's a good piece of news before we get into today's topic. So, as many of you are already aware, I have a summer drop with Advanced GG that just launched a couple days ago. And right now, until the 1st, if you use code REV20 at checkout, you'll get 20% off your order from these items. And you can see I got my
Okay, I cannot beat that. My code gives you only 10% off, so...
new flavor jars.
Also, he wins, yeah. He has his own flavors, too.
Rev's Shark Bait Lemonade flavor here. Rev's Rocket Pop has returned with a new label. This is a fan favorite flavor. And then we have Rev's Based Berry Blast, which is a new flavor. It's berry-based,
that sounds good.
Obviously. And you can see...
Berry Blast? That sounds good.
Yeah.
Those 3 flavor jars, and also some new clothing as well. This is new stuff here.
Okay, last tidbit. Those are some good prices on a merch t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. They're actually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You can pre-order, and also one of our ice shakers have been brought back. So you can pair that up with a flavor jar if you so choose. I'll put a link to this in the pinned comment. And again, use code REV20 at checkout to save 20% off this new drop. All of the support on this is greatly appreciated, and it leads to future campaigns as well. Thanks, guys, for the big support on this. Now let's get back into today's topic. So, about a week ago, we talked about this
Oh damn, they're still in protective mode. I would have thought the funny would have came out of it by this point.
group called Collective Shout. In their description, they say a grassroots campaign movement against the objectification of women and sexualization of girls in media, advertising, and popular culture. This is a very small group of feminists based out of Australia who, after many years of tiny victories, all of a sudden claims responsibility for thousands of games being banned across multiple platforms. And as you can see, their account is private because they're losing the plot. They're losing the war on social media. The free speech campaign where people are criticizing them, they're getting hammered. Whether it's directly through this account or their employees, they're getting smashed because they are nothing but people.
And the same thing applies. Make yourself heard, but do not harass them.
Trying to push their agenda. Getting hammered. Whether it's directly through this account or their employees, they're getting smashed because they are nothing but people trying to push their agenda. They are masquerading as some sort of effort to save young girls from exploitation, but in reality, their efforts don't line up with what they're doing. In fact, they put way more importance on video games than they do protecting actual children. This is a giant farce. This is their attempt at controlling the narrative and getting games banned across the way, including horror games, as we will see in just a moment. Basically, Collective Shout is a useful idiot. Basically, they opened the door. They somehow found the golden way of approaching these bans, and that is putting pressure on payment process.
Okay, I don't think so. The problem is that the longer and louder you shout and the more you put together people who are good at shouting, the more is gonna grab attention. So all they did was they learned how to scream, they learned how to complain, they learned how to ask for a manager, and they gathered a small little hive mind of Karens, and with the sheer authoritarian power of the combined ultra Karen, they went and started complaining.
And now the floodgates have opened and everyone's jumping in the door they just opened, and now, well, games are getting banned by the thousands and things are looking really bad. Like I said, they got small victories over the years. I mean, this was something they celebrated for a very long time, getting Target and Kmart to remove GTA 5 from their stores in Australia. Now, all these efforts were laughed at because the main account, as well as several of the employees of Collective Shout, have openly and viciously defended the Netflix film Cuties, which has sexually exploited hundreds of real children in its filming. In fact, you can see...
If you don't understand why Cuties is harmful, just go and watch a video on how they were casting those little girls.
From the main account saying it's a powerful protest against the sexualization of girls. And how did Cuties achieve that goal? By sexually exploiting real children. It's literally a movie about 11 to 12-year-old kids doing a twerk off while wearing skimpy clothing. It's disgusting. It's exploitative material, and they defend that, but they want to ban games like GTA and even horror games, as we will see today. So, like I said, for years they were largely ignored, but they came up with a new...
Oh yes, I've seen Rev post it. I reposted it so fast. It's literally the fridge theory of attractive women. So every attractive woman has that fridge friend, so the fridge that protects the snack.
What the hell?
And basically in this meme, the fridge is then MasterCard protecting the snack game.
New strategy, and that is to put pressure on Visa and MasterCard. In case you don't know, payment processors like them dominate the field. If you lose Visa and MasterCard, if they remove their services from your platform, you're going broke. You've lost basically your entire monetization just like that. And people like myself, I hate to be like the person who said I told you so, but this happened in Japan about 2 years ago. That's when it's...
No, this is, I think, if anything, this is the right time to say I told you so. We were on the same mountain screaming, oh, hey, this is happening in Japan. Like when the whole thing was happening, and everyone was like, "Oh, who cares? It's just some anti-anime. Who cares? In Japan, it's not gonna affect us." Look where we are.
Yep.
Started when we saw this pattern and no one cared. A lot of people were basically saying, "Oh, well, who cares? The stupid hentai games
There
have
you
now
go. There you go.
been removed from stores and catalogs and what have you." And now it's expanding way beyond just that, and the people who are cheering on that censorship are going, "Whoa, wait a second, this isn't good." Because right now, this strategy has been extremely effective for Collective Shout. A very small group that should have no influence whatsoever has somehow gotten thousands of games banned in a very short period of time using this new strategy, and it's completely ridiculous. And even Steam is feeling the pressure, where they've made a new rule stating this: content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. And that is very vague and very open. And guess what? It's backfiring, and it's being applied to way more than what people initially thought. I mean, who saw that coming? Yeah, all the people who were cheering on all these previous bans of especially Japanese games are now going, "Oh, wait a second. You're banning my ethical, totally normal."
Oh my gosh.
I actually, okay, jokes aside, I've seen so many posts for the past few days and it's the same people who were like, "Ah, they banned that No Mercy game, ha ha ha, you guys are so gross for playing those games." And now it's like those like erotic visual novels being removed too, and they're having a complete freak out now, doing a whole 180 on this topic. It's as if the people who were defending the censorship when the whole No Mercy thing was happening and when the whole anti thing was happening, it's as if they were saying from the beginning, it's not gonna stop here. They will come sooner or later for the shit you like. And now all of them are waking up.
Games that also contain mature content, and now they're trying to complain about it, but it might be just a little too late. But anyways, another target of Collective Shout and these pro-censorship groups is itch.io, an open indie game marketplace, and they're feeling the heat quite significantly. In fact, the campaign against them is so ridiculous. Even PC Gamer, who's usually the kind of slop place you see saying the worst takes ever about gaming, even they recognize how ridiculous this is and how this is not going to accomplish anything to protect women like Collective Shout claims it will, and that basically this is going to result in a new...
And the funny thing is, the most people I see be the loudest about it are women against the censorship.
Sort of sidestepping of these platforms and rules into other places where they can still just keep on selling their games. But like I said, it's not just the gooner bait games, as people will say. We now have horror games getting caught in the mix. This post saying, Vile Exhumed is banned on Steam. Mouthwashing removed on itch.io. We will return to that in just a second. And then 3, Fear and Hunger shadow banned on itch.io. So there are horror games getting banned on Steam and shadow banned on itch.io.
Damn, bro.
Is it real enough for people now? Are people finally perking up their ears and realizing that they're coming to your neighborhood soon?
And this is a very concerning thing, and honestly, the natural conclusion of everything we've been talking about. This is how it's going to work. It's going to keep extending and extending and extending. And now some people are like, whoa, what's going
Man, I actually like those games.
on here? What?
Fate, this is a good example. It started with a game that maybe some people were mad about it being removed, but now they're going after the stuff that you like, as an example. Remember how yesterday I was explaining the whole rhetoric of the foot that's jammed between the door and the door frame? They just need to like jam a little bit of their foot to be able to push in the door. Well, the door is being opened now. The foot was in the door. Now the door is being pushed open.
People have been calling this out for years, and it got largely ignored. Now, of course, we have to talk about mouthwashing. on this post, it's reported as removed. I don't blame this person because there was a lot of misinformation going on yesterday. In fact, I'm glad I didn't talk about this yesterday and went with something else because there was a very confusing picture being made. So Mouthwashing is an indie game that was enormously successful, and it's one that came with an interesting set of controversies involving one of the people who worked on this game, as we will see in just a second. But this is the person right here, Martin, who said that yesterday, Mouthwashing got yoinked from itch search results, basically saying it's been shadow banned, right? And he down here says, not surprised, was kind of waiting for it to happen. And then someone asks, wait, why? And this is very important. He says, payment processors like MasterCard/Visa have been pushed by an activist group, Collective Shout, to deplatform not safe for work content on many major platforms, including itch. Collective Shout has tried to go after Steam, but were unsuccessful, so they started targeting payment processors instead. This paints a very clear picture that the payment processors were responsible for getting this removed. Collective Shout through the payment processors. And things will get complicated, number one, because people like Hypnotic or Grum's reporting on this.
Damn. Hypnotic being mentioned by Rev was not on my bingo card. This is the thing I was talking about earlier. So Hypnotic been caught in UK's censorship filter.
Are seeing their posts about it getting restricted, which has to do with the new UK age verification law that's gone into effect. That's a topic for another day. It's very complicated, having very widespread and unintended results. I think these results are very intended, but we'll talk about that another time, but just something to point out. Now, going back to Martin here, he's someone who worked on the audio and music of Mouthwashing, and he originally left a bad taste in the mouth, no pun intended, of many people who were playing this game or were interested in playing this game, because when Asmongold made a video not only defending an artist being harassed,
and this is how it ties back. We have a video talking about this specific topic. How someone made a drawing of this character from Mouthwash, and Twitter people, Twitter freaks, lost their mind over it. It's all circles.
For making artwork of a character that people thought was problematic. He also went out and played the game and really enjoyed it and promoted it to his audience. And this is how Martin, as a member of the team that made the game, responded, saying, the anti-woke crowd has found the game and I feel sick to my effing stomach. Being on Twitter is going to be unbelievably painful from now on, that I don't know if I can be active on here. I don't have the energy.
That's the person in charge of the game saying that. You know, there's no shame sometimes to shut the fuck up and just take your money and just bow and wave. They probably brought you thousands of people. I still say the Venn diagram between collective care associates and T users is a circle. I've been seeing those jokes for a while now.
Well, unfortunately, things got more complicated yesterday when itch.io on Blue Sky as well as on Twitter made it very clear that Mouthwashing has not been indexed since October of 2024, since it doesn't meet their indexing criteria. And they're using a download button as a link to Steam. The developer took down any playable files from this page in 2024. So it has been basically a year since this game was down on itch.io. So way before any of this stuff involving Collective Shout. And of course, Martin would come on later and try to correct the record, saying that the delisting narrative he was sharing turned out to be false. Good on him for correcting the record, but a lot of people were rallying behind him.
He lied? He lied? He actually... Ain't no way, bro. First that anti-Vogue thing, and now you were so desperate for PR, you lied about it.
Because despite his previous comments about Asmongold and other people who are anti-woke, people said, hey, you know what? We might not like those comments, but what's happening with Collective Shout
Darwin, I don't need your passive aggressive energy saying, oh no, he lied. Oh no, oh me. Shut up.
And mouthwashing, that's not cool, okay? Even though you disagree with some of the things he said, his game should still be allowed to exist without being taken down. And now the record's been corrected, and that's not what happened. And now it's just confusing because there's only really two results. Either people like Martin were just not paying attention at all and somehow didn't realize this game wasn't even there for a year, basically, or they were trying to frame this in a way that made them look like a victim of collective shout and their agenda.
These are the truest words ever. Wow, guy's a doofus.
Dude's a doofus.
This is literally the most base sentiment towards him right now. Many people are angry at Itch right now, but really they have no fault. And I'm surprised how patient they're being with all the hate they're getting. The only place where I personally think that Itch 100% messed up and they screwed up massively is the fact that they didn't refund the for the games they removed out of people's libraries. I think that is something itch.io up with. But beyond them delisting not safe for work games under the threat of no income, I do get why they had to do it. It's not something that they just went and decided on a whim. They do need to pay their employees and whatnot. So the people you should be mad at for what HIO delisted, and again, 100% be mad at them for not refunding. That goes without saying. But the people you should be mad at for making games quote unquote censored is Visa, MasterCard, and Collective Shout.
Either way, it's not a great look, but at the end of the day, let's make this very clear. Just because Mouthwashing was not a victim of this campaign, there were other horror games that are, whether they're getting delisted on itch.io or banned on Steam. It's happening. So just because Mouthwashing is not a part of that does not erase what's happening right before our eyes. And Collective Shout is very, very proud of what they're doing. In fact, they made a Steam campaign timeline where they say this: in response to false claims and misinformation about our campaign, we're setting the record straight. Some have asked why we involved payment processors, and others have claimed we are responsible for itch.io removing all not safe for work content. We raised our objection to R-word and incest games on Steam for months, and they ignored us for months. Good, as they should. We approached payment processors because Steam did not respond.
Also, keep in mind, Steam didn't remove the game No Mercy. The people who made the game No Mercy pulled it from Steam themselves because of the backlash that was happening, and they just preemptively did it themselves. Steam actually didn't remove it.
To us. We called on itch.io to remove R-word and incest games that we argued normalize violence and abuse of women. Itch.io made the decision to remove all not safe for work content. Our objections were to content that involved sexualized violence and torture of women. So here they are once again making claims with no evidence about how this is leading to people being harmed in real life and all these things. But it appears very clear that they're proud of what they're doing. They're claiming this as a victory and that this campaign where they're going after payment processors has been working, and also they were able to bully itch.io into removing all their not safe for work content, which is cascading into places where you don't really expect, including horror games. And Steam was something they wanted to bully, they couldn't, so like a hall monitor, they went to the payment processors and went through them instead, and unfortunately it works. Now, there's something else very interesting going on.
Yes, because Itch is a way easier target because they're smaller.
With Collective Shout. As Bounding into Comics reports here, Collective Shout's staff are now stockpiling personal and family data on creator Smash JT.
And there we have it.
Bro, what?
Stockpiling personal and family data on Smash JT and Madam Savvy. They've been targeting Madam Savvy for a very long time now, to a point of dragging her through mud on the internet.
And Madam Savvy and more. We need more evidence of these mafia-like tactics. Please keep an eye out for attempts from Collective Shout to dox their opposition. Fear is the only tactic they can trust, and that is
This is beyond trashy. The fact that this is what they're resorting to should genuinely showcase to every single person what kind of pieces of scum they are.
Yeah.
something they have been doing through this individual, this LS Kennedy, who is an ethics, compliance, supply chain, corp governance and behavior, blah, 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 blah. They work for Collective Shout as a campaigner. Now, they have been crashing out nonstop on Twitter. I swear almost every single thing this person says gets ratioed into the shadow realm and also gets hit with a community note dispelling the lies they're sharing. And they make this long claim attacking Savvy in particular, basically saying she's lying, she's doing all this stuff wrong. And as you can see by the notes, the screenshots in question all bore connection to Savvy's arguments and were not at all dishonest or false whatsoever. No bullying was involved, only the spreading of public information. So yes, Savvy's been doing a lot of work exposing what's going on with Collective Shout. They don't like that, so they call her a liar, and here's all the proof. If you want to go through it yourself, do as you please, but it's very obvious she's raising valid concerns and valid points based on public posts, and this person's trying to deny it. And look at it. 36 likes versus 200 plus quotes.
Yikes. Oh, what is that? She restricted who can even comment? I wonder why.
Dunking on them. And then down here, they say, as for our records, citing advocate for the pro game illegal content gaming crowd, Madam Savvy and Smash JT, rubbished our winning campaign calling Brumby's Bakery to ditch a sexist slogan, workplace uniform tees, which put young female employees at the risk of sexual harassment. Yeah, they targeted a local bakery that had a shirt that said the best buns in town, of course.
What?
They bullied a small company, a small bakery that says best buns in town.
Bro, you can't make this shit up.
Because the uniform saying the best buns in town invites the workers to be actually harassed.
While harassing them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think they need to go back to first grade and learn what logic even is.
Referring to bread, a little joke, and they relentlessly went after them and were successful in basically bullying this small company into changing their ways. But down here, do Madam Savvy and married and father Smash JT think it's okay for employers to facilitate and invite the sexual harassment of girls in the workplace?
Do they not know how people even like go and work? Like, do they know that people decide to go and apply at a specific place to work? They apply, they get in, they know what they're getting in. Like, by that logic, like, let's say best buns in town is so hypersexual, right, that it literally just invites like people from the whole like state to come there and ogle at them, right? Let's go by that logic. Do they still not understand it's the same thing as going to, like, let's say a Hooters and screaming at the management there like, how dare you make these girls wear this uniform? People who go work there, they would know what uniform they would have to wear. Like, there's literally no logic here.
Sounds like a bit of a threat, doesn't it? Why are you also including this? What are you trying to imply?
No, she wasn't trying to use it as a threat. She was using it as a public shaming tactic, that look at this guy, he's a father and he's married, and yet he's defending these best buns in town thing. That's what they're trying to do. I don't think it's a threat. I think they're trying to just do like a public humiliation.
Yeah.
They're definitely making a very vague threat towards these individuals, and that's not surprising. That's how these people operate. They operate on fear, they want to make you feel unsafe, and that's what they do. It's disgusting. And of course, they're mad at people like Savvy because they've been sharing information like this, that you can submit complaints about these companies to them. And that's something they're legally required to have available for people. And guess what? It's working. Because Visa and MasterCard are getting overwhelmed by the amount of emails and phone calls being made to them. And if
Basically, thanks for the tip. We'll use it too.
Yep.
I guess they didn't expect that. Hey, if you can call, we sure as hell can call too. Literally Uno reverse right now happening.
if you want to do these routes, all I ask is that you be respectful.
Yep.
You have a plan, right? You actually have something to say, a valid point or criticism or set of questions, and you do it in the most professional manner you can, because, you know, just calling up and saying a bunch of nonsense isn't going to help anything. But if you make a solid inquiry on what's going on here, I think you can do some really good things and help push back, because as they bullied these companies and these platforms into doing their will, the same thing can be done to remedy it as well. If you
Like I said, it's called Uno reverse, bitch. And once more, I know I went down the path of clickbaiting, I know, but hey, clickbaiting works. Plus, who's gonna be mad at this? Once more, all the numbers are gonna be here. Hold on, let me do this. So even if you don't want to go on the post, I'm gonna do this so you can see the numbers in the video itself, because I'm gonna post this video tomorrow and I'm gonna make sure that all these numbers are visible. And again, be respectful, be polite. The workers who are answering the phones have nothing to do with this. You getting frustrated at them and screaming at them is not gonna help anyone. It's not gonna help you, it's not gonna help them. Just be polite, be respectful, and voice what the concern is clearly. And when they note it down, make sure you ask them to repeat it back to you, and make sure to request a case number. So that way you can make sure they actually filed it. And that's it. All I can say, you don't like the adult games, that's fine. You don't like horror games, that's fine. But they're not gonna stop there. Time to have our voices heard. That's about it.
Yeah. Fly high. Check it. Spread my wings high, reach the sky. Feathers in the wind, never asking why. I'm a bird, motherfucker, I'm a bird. Soaring high, yeah, that's the word. Flying free like you never heard.